longtime Democratic strategist James Carville is elated over the results of Super Tuesday. Now, of course, Biden won many states on Super Tuesday, but it is by no means an indication that he wins the Democratic nomination, which is why Carville is pressuring every other candidate to drop out immediately. He makes his case in the following clips.
First round, I want to offer a hand gesture to Congressman Clyburn.
There you go.
That guy literally saved the Democratic Party. I think we're going to see some, obviously Bloomberg and Warren are not long for this world. And I think what we might be starting to see, and I like some of the panel may weigh on this, is we might see Democrats starting to ask Sanders to, look, let's just don't drag this thing out any more than we have to. I mean, people want to get on to the general election. They want to get on to defeating Donald Trump.
So he mentioned Clyburn specifically because, as we know, Clyburn endorsed Joe Biden, and that theoretically did help him in some of these states for Super Tuesday. With that said, though, when he says that Clyburn saved the Democratic Party, let's decode that for 1 minute, because it's not about saving the Democratic Party. If Joe Biden becomes the nominee, I have no doubt, I will bet money on it, that Trump will be reelected, okay? What Carville's talking about there is, oh, Clyburn came in, he saved my relevance. He saved my next paycheck, right? Because he's a Democratic strategist. What Bernie Sanders threatens, and I know that we talk about money a lot, but what he threatens more than anything is power, the current power structure that we're operating under. The power structure that makes all of these Democratic strategists, which give all this terrible advice to Democratic candidates, it makes them continue to be relevant, keeps their jobs intact. That's all it does. And that's all they care about at the end of the day. Bernie Sanders threatens all that.
Yeah, so, I don't know to what degree Carville's still a strategist and what degree he's still in the game. I think mainly makes money from being famous these days, and okay, bless his heart. But I gotta give credit to Paul Krugman, who the other day on Twitter admitted, he said, look, Bernie Sanders is doing well, this is before Super Tuesday. And he said, no, he'd be fine as a nominee, we'd survive, even though it wouldn't help my career as a more center-left analyst. And I was like, whoa, he admitted it. And it was actually startling that he admitted it. And I'll give him credit for admitting it. And so, which almost none of the rest of them do. They all go on TV and the anchors don't tell you, the stations don't tell you, the guests don't tell you that all these Democratic strategists would be in trouble. They'd make less money, they'd have less clients, etc. if we ended the corruption, or at least tried to end the corruption. And so that's one portion of it. Another portion that it relates to the Krugmans of the world. Krugman isn't taking any kind of consultant money as far as I know.
He's supposed to be a journalist, right?
Yeah, and a professor. But it would hurt his career, as he himself acknowledges, because he's not as relevant anymore. You want to be relevant, and you want to be advising presidents, and he won't get to advise Bernie. And Carville would he get to advise Biden? Yeah, he can call Biden anytime he wants. He gets called a president. Can he call Bernie? I'm pretty sure Bernie's not going to take his call. Okay, and so to then the idea that Bernie would take a call from Anna Kasparian, but not from James Carville, you have no idea to what degree that's grating to people in Washington and in power. To them, that seems unthinkable.
Yeah, and look, you mentioned my name, and it's funny because that's never even occurred to me, right? That they would call and ask for my opinion or advice or anything like. I don't want that. If they choose to, fine, but that's not even something I think about or care about, right? So you have people. And these are the pundits that get chosen to comment on things on cable television, right? They're thinking about themselves.
Yep.
Whereas people, who are embracing and supporting the right candidates based on policy aren't just thinking about themselves, they're thinking about the future of the country and creating a better system that has more equality, that has fairness, that has equality of opportunity.
You just saw it with your own eyes, guys. Anna's genuine surprise when I said that. She literally never thought about that. Oh, the president could call me or I could talk to the president. It never occurred to her, you just saw it right there, okay? Whereas for the folks in Washington, they're obsessed with it. Oh, will I have access? And access just feels good for ego, and that's a huge part of it. Also, once you have access, they think about how do I turn that into bucks, right?
Right.
All right, let's keep it real. All right, now, real quick though, on the subject. First of all, he's right about Clyburn, not in saving the Democratic Party, but saving Joe Biden. Yes, Clyburn, obviously very influential African-American congressman from South Carolina. His endorsement does make a huge difference in South Carolina, and it did put Biden back in. That part is accurate. But in terms of Carville's hypocrisy on the front runner stuff, when Bernie was a front runner, Carville had his lack of hair on fire on television. Go, oh, it can't be Bernie, can't be the front runner, can't be the front runner. We gotta do something about this, right? And then Biden takes a tiny lead, and he's like, "That's it. He's the front runner. Bernie should drop out." Oh, come on, who are you kidding, James? I mean, you're an old hand at this. I get it. You're trying a cute little trick, but that's the most disingenuous thing I've ever seen, and I could prove it in a second. Go ahead.
So we have to go to the next clip, because if what you just saw was irritating, I would argue that this next clip is worse.
James, I am imagining all of Sanders' nation saying in unison, and I'll paraphrase, what part of Bernie Sanders and what part of Bernie Sanders' base of support does he not understand? We do, in fact, want a revolution.
I understand that you do. You don't have a majority of the Democrats that are in on your revolution, and I'm sure that they will continue. But I think you're going to see a lot of people saying, "Why are we doing this? To what purpose? We want to beat Donald Trump." I mean, I travel around the country. I speak to people, and Democrats are not interested in a revolution. Interested in getting this guy out of power just as fast as they possibly can. But I think you're going to start seeing some backlash here. Like, come on, man. We're speaking pretty loudly and we're speaking pretty clearly here tonight. And we're voters and we want to be heard.
Yeah, when Bernie was winning, the voters didn't matter. They spoke clearly and loudly in Iowa, New Hampshire. My God, in Nevada, they were very, very loud and clear. Oh, that doesn't matter. Who cares? The voters? Voters don't mean anything. It's got to be Biden, right? The minute Biden takes the lead, the voters, they spoke loudly and clear. Okay, then, so James, let's do something fun. Okay, let's do this ahead of time. Since your logic is whoever's the front runner, the other person should immediately drop out. If Bernie retakes the lead, then do you agree ahead of time that Biden should immediately drop out? Oh, I didn't think so. I didn't think so. You're not going to agree to that, right? Because it ain't about the voters speaking loudly and clearly. Otherwise, we'd have the rest of the states vote. That is how they speak. Okay, we wouldn't say, oh no, don't let Florida vote, don't let New York vote, don't let Illinois or Ohio or Michigan vote. No, that is the opposite of the voters speaking loudly and clearly, and you'll never agree to my challenge because you don't mean a word of it. You just want your buddy to be president. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.